national issues, then national security is at risk. Um, so I don't know how to it's definitely not an anomaly. It's something new and it's something that should be studied. It's like it's an innovation that it's a game changer. So definitely yes. It's not something new. We're gonna see more of it. I mean, he's right now. I think Assange is in the Ecuadorian embassy. There's a reason for that. You know, if he comes out, I don't know what's gonna happen to him. I mean, can you be tried for treason for doing something like this?
I think that that's part of his fears that he would be tried, he'd be up for a death penalty in the United States. But I think they want to extradite him on the sex charges back to Sweden or something like that, right?
Which is like to me that's funny because like the sex charges, all that is private stuff, but then it became transparent. Like the way he spoke to women, it's not good at all. Yeah, did you ever read his stuff, his letters to women? Not good. He's what do you call it? He plays with your head. The way that what do you call it when you play with someone's head? Yeah. Oof. So it's ironic. That's irony in the purest sense. Good stuff, man. Any other questions, concerns about security issues? What are three main security issues of the United States right now? Anyone? Yeah.
Nuclear non proliferation.
Hmm.
That.
Yeah.
I'll stop there.
I mean, that's one thing, definitely. I mean, with Iran and North Korea, it's always going to be an issue.
Yeah, there is, I think, no clear agenda like it was Bush administration before during the Cold War. I think there is now not such a clear agenda.
There's several. There's also with what's happening in Australia, the West Coast of Australia, the U.S. has sent a lot of troops in there. So I've been research on, so I've been finding out more and more about it. More of the U.S. presence, even involved in the issues with maritime issues between Vietnam and China, where U.S. is usually not too involved. So there's several things going on.
Yeah, that's one thing that's really important. Like right now, it's how to deal with the growing importance of China and how even though it has a foreign policy of assurance, like we're not going to do anything, they're definitely doing something. I mean, with their waterways exerting their influence in the Japanese islands, Vietnam taking the fish away from the Vietnamese, and so forth.
Rare earth material in Africa.
Oh yes, yeah.
And investment everywhere. It's like investment everywhere where it wouldn't upset the U.S. though. It's kind of like they're getting heavily involved in states that kind of but without kind of bumping heads or butting heads with the
It's
U.S.
kind of like how it was in Australia with the mining. At first, it was a very keen relationship, but then more and more they've been, to say the least, have been shaping greatly the southwest coast of Australia with all the questionable mining techniques, and that's the same thing they're doing in Latin America. They're investing greatly in countries like Bolivia, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and of course Latin American countries are very, very happy with because it's foreign investment and it's bringing a lot of currency, a lot of good relations. But what's going to happen 5 years from now or 10 years from now?
I think what's it? Gilpin is it Gilpin? Theory of hegemonic war, and I can vary how countries like one is decreasing in relevance and the other one is increasing. So the United States it seems is decreasing. The Chinese are increasing. Um, Also, when you look at the debt situation in the United States and how the PRC has about 30 to 40% of American debt in their hands, it's like giving somebody, pardon my language, giving somebody your testicles and say, could you hold these for me for just 1 second?
I've heard different numbers. I've heard 8% publicly held debt.
Yeah.
Your publicly held debt 8% is held by China. 30%. I think that
This is one of my problems. I think it's 30%. I don't know where I got that number from. I know I read it somewhere at 30%. I think it was on like some kind of like website. I could be wrong. Um, but I do know that the Chinese have been threatening to throw that money on the market and invest in euros for quite some time now. I think it's 40%, but I gotta double check. but it could be 8 as well. I'm
And
not very good
either
with
way, it's
numbers.
still a lot for one state to have.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
You
but they
don't do
want
that.
to- It won't be like, I think it's,
You know, you can make that argument.
it's interdependent. They want, I guess they want to.
You see, I like for me, you can definitely make the argument interdependence theory, and you know you wouldn't do that because it would hurt you as well. But if they do something like invest in euros, right, then it won't hurt them as much, would it?
They will lose the U.S. market, is the biggest market all over the world.
Yeah.
You know, how much it will cost China to just use the market of the United States. Maybe right now it's, I don't know, probably in a few years when the economy of Europe recovers, you can make the argument that they will change the approach. But right now, Europe is not a place where you want to invest
Yeah.
right now. And even the euro, I think the euro is like not strong enough to. I don't know.
Yeah, that's another problem there. I've been looking at that too a lot, like reading about the EU. Does anybody have any? If you guys don't have any more questions, you guys are like, you know.
This, I have one more. I want to just think about cyber attacks more specifically. So I'm thinking about like viruses, how they come up. I don't have a PC, so I don't have this. I don't have to really get.
You have a Mac
I
like
don't.
this?
I have a Mac. Oh, yeah, there it is. So I don't have to really deal with it. But I remember a time when just constantly like every so often a new antivirus software update would come and you just get that, and then but a virus would come and maybe hit you, and then there'd be something that would kind of fix that. So you get hit, but you get fixed.
Mm-hmm.
It's back and forth, and I'm wondering if that's just going to be kind of the reality, but out there, like say on the power grid of the United States or in our nuclear facilities, that just every so often something gets hit, but then it's fixed, and then it's just part of the reality of life will be rolling, cyber attacks that get corrected in short term, hopefully not catastrophic.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden, no street lights work in Miami because it was hacked for like a week, and then it's
Terrible.
fixed, and then someone comes out with something new and then hacks it again 5 years down the line.
Yeah.
Is that just a reality I think that we have to deal with in 20 years, or?
I mean, it would suck, but at the same time, that could be a reality that we have to just get used to. I mean, imagine your whole life would be shut down because of this country. You get sick of it. Um, you can make the same argument for terrorism. You gotta, instead of making it an attack on a country, it could be just a criminal attack. But then how would you go about bringing them to justice and so forth? Like it's a lot of but moving something, if you look at the securitization literature, but moving something from a security realm of security and existential threat to one of normal politics is definitely possible with desecuritization. Definitely, there's going to have to be some kind of like someone's going to have to take the helm at this. Someone's going to have to say, it's something we're going to have to get used to. The leader, what do you call Speech Act? Speech Act is going to be made that to reverse the effect. But I mean, you're gonna have to make a serious argument because we're talking about economy, we're talking about your national security, your secrets and stuff. I mean, if you want to talk about the national security and the security secrets of like say Lebanon or St. Kitts, don't really matter, Like when you talk about the United States, we're talking about this is the biggest kid in the playground,
Well, just financial transactions, even for a small state, be disastrous. I mean, for
Yeah.
It'd be like a Ponzi scheme, kind of going belly up. Like it's still pretty small, but it still sends like shockwaves out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's true. And just to end on this point, just a thought popped in my head. I was reading BBC News today, and the United Kingdom is seeking software writers with cybersecurity for cybersecurity challenge. So basically, they're gonna have a treasure hunt. Great Britain having a treasure hunt to see like how people can be cyber warriors and so forth. Try to find certain little things and whatnot, and then they're gonna move on to more professional tests. So it's a creation of a cyber army from the civilian population. So in this respect, we're seeing all these things that you're talking about like intersect. When you talk about moving cyber attacks to more of a everyday issue, now we're seeing like an everyday issue moving into security. So it's very interesting.
What was it like 1 week ago that the FBI shut down like 20% of the computer of the United States? What was because of the virus? What was the
I mentioned that it was not only did it shut down computers in the United States,
In
but
several places.
Yeah.
in several parts of the world.
Yeah.
They have that power, and that makes it really like the government should not have that kind of power, in my opinion. But it's because of cybercrime, thievery, and what do you call it? Piracy.
They argue that it was because of the virus.
Yeah, and the virus issue too. Like there's a crime thing about like it's becoming this criminality aspect of the virus is becoming a national security issue as well. So we're seeing a lot of back and forth.
But this is, I think, as you pointed out, kind of example of it's a perceived as a kind of national threat because if they shut down 20% of the computers and they did it also, overseas, it means that it's a big issue.
Hmm. And also, there was another article on BBC News, and this one came out on the 13th of July, entitled "Viewpoint: Stuxnet's Shift the Cyber Arms Race Up a Gear." And the article is really interesting, but it ends on a very relevant point, is in that on the internet, borders don't really matter, but in times of crisis, they do. I think that has a lot to say. I think it's not just the internet. It's not just criminals. It's not just the mafia in Colombia when you have the what do you call it the drug lords and stuff. Mexico. Anything can be made a national security issue if you frame it in such a way, and we're seeing this with the internet. So it's just we shouldn't be surprised. Anything can be securitized. Copenhagen School. Anything. It just depends if people perceive it as a threat to their national security. Any other questions or concerns or discussions on security foreign policy? Anything? All right. Thank you very much.
Thank
It
you.
was very.
Awesome.
It was fun. I did my best, and thank you again.
Did Al Gore invent the internet?
That's on Futurama, right?
No, but I think this thing about the internet is that it's actually a lot more tangible than we think. Like there are nodes out there, and if you wanted, then you can control that.